Hi guys, welcome along. As usual, give it a minute or two before we start. Okay, see a few people are already in there. Okay, so we'll just get moving, get yourself warmed up a little bit, get started in a couple of minutes. Okay, so guys, good evening. Usual story, if you're watching along, just put a comment up, let us know. What we're going to do today is a quick enough warm-up because we want to get a bit of defensive work done as well as getting our striking. So we've been working the last couple of weeks on kicks, bringing the kicks into combinations with our hands. We're going to do some drills on that today, and we're also going to mix in some defensive techniques. So the defensive techniques we're looking at today are leg defenses against kicks. So we're going to look at stopping kicks, we're going to look at inside leg defense, and we're going to look at some hand defense with scooping kicks. So what will determine which defense you make will be how ready you are, what's your posture, are you in a fighting stance, or are your hands down, are you passive, and what's your mental state, are you completely relaxed, or are you kind of in a fighting mode already. Some burpees in there, some squats, some press ups, some shadow fighting, and then finishing with a couch stretch. So guys, we'll start off with our quick warm-up. We'll just tilt this down a small bit. David and Paul are with us. Good. So guys, we'll start from a crawling position. So the usual story, put our feet at shoulder distance, fists under our shoulders, hips under our knees, eyes are forwards, and just start to rock. So pretty much think of this like a squat, but it's a horizontal squat rather than a vertical squat. Good, and then just start to make circles. So as your weight shifts back, bend your toes back and hinge your hips. As your weight goes forwards, put the weight over your wrists. Switch directions. Good. In steps in the ground. Sit our butt back. Hand being on our head. Elbow to knee. And then our elbow to the ceiling. Good. We switch sides. So hand on our head. Make sure it's not just your arm moving. The movements come from your upper back. And the usual story, as your elbow comes to the roof, try and look at your elbow with the eye that's furthest away. This encourages you to turn the body a little bit more. Come up to a tall kneel. Hands to the side. And make the S behind the back. So try not to cheat. Don't lean forwards, don't lean back. Get the balance right between keeping good technique and then trying to bring your hands together. So work into that little range at the end where it feels a little bit tight. And the usual thing we say, any clicks, any cracks are okay, as long as there's no pain. Our hands to the side. Think of holding our 2 cups of water, so don't turn our palm over. We want to switch one hand, but keep your palm facing the ceiling. So we're starting with the shoulders here. We're starting with the thoracic spine. Over 25 people with this time. That's brilliant. So this is week 9, and it's hard to believe it's that long. Some people have been asking, I do have more t-shirts. I switched between 3 t-shirts. As it turns out, the white t-shirt, this t-shirt, and my strong first one, but I do have more. So guys, we come back to here. Eyes are forwards, fingertips forward, heel backwards, and we switch. So like we always say, no movement from the torso. Your hand and leg moves together, and then we go to the opposite side. Try to reach your fingertips forwards as much as possible. Reach your heel back. We switch. This time when you raise, elbow to knee. Extend. Again, elbow to knee, knee to elbow, and come down. We touch elbow to knee on the way up. We extend. Touch elbow to knee, and back to the ground. And again, we'll go one more each side. Good. And now for a bit of a challenge, 2 on the same side. Come back in, try not to lean too much. Good. Just make sure you put the space behind you, put your feet shoulder distance, and walk your hands back, don't let your feet move, and just come to the squat, the tall squat. Hands behind, walk back, point your fingers backwards, and push your hips up as high as you can. So walk back into your squat, nice and tall. So even though you're crouched down, a tall spine, hands in front, walk out, take one hand up, we'll come down and switch, and again back into that squat. So we've been saying this in the last couple of sessions, the ability to achieve the squat is more important for the start than to be able to take a kettlebell and add some weight to it. Why you add weight to the squat, just lift your hips up, is to strengthen a good movement pattern. So the first thing you need to do is get a good movement pattern. Sometimes you use the kettlebell to develop that, but we're not thinking of just adding load on if we don't have a good technique. So let the elbows push the knees out from your tailbone to the top of your head. Try and make it as long as possible. Push your chest out, hands behind. We go back now, push the hips up, and one hand to the ceiling. Sometimes when people reach their hand up, they let their hips drop. Hips right up. Come down, switch sides. Back to the squat. So we want to make sure the toes and knees facing the same direction. Walk the hands out. One hand to the side. Switch. Back in. Just stay in the squat for a second. Hands behind. From here, as you push the hips up, reach your hand over and touch your opposite shoulder. Back down. So really push your hips out. Up and over your shoulder. We'll do the same again. And one more time. Good. Now, come to our back, and let's get a little bit of work on our leg raise. So knee straight, think of touching the toes to the shin, and just pull the leg back towards your head as much as possible, keeping your body on the ground, not letting your hips lift, and keeping the knee straight. So pull into a bit of a stretch. Don't stop breathing. Switch sides, so knee straight. Pull that hamstring stretch. Again, like we said before, holding your breath is kind of something that's a struggle, it's tough. So try to keep relaxed breathing even as you pull into that stretch. Switch again. And one more. Now, take our hands, point our hands to the ceiling, take our 2 legs up, and our leg raise. So separate your hips as one leg goes down, the other one comes up. So as this one goes down, think of pulling this one up away from it. As this one goes down, the other one doesn't move. And at the end, think of pulling legs apart. Are you breathing? Good. And we'll come back up. So, guys, we're going to go straight into the frog now. We're not going to do a kick in the wall because I want to get our drills done, attacking and defensive. So, a frog, think of it as a split from our knees, hips between our knees, and just start to rock a little bit. So we'll get our hips turning over a small bit now because we have some roundhouse kicks to do. So who have we got? We've got David, Paul, Jack, Esme, Adrian, probably as well, Alan, John, Brian. So that's a good gang from the club. So guys, at a water break, if you want to stick up comment, let us know you're there. Elbows to the ground. And rocking again. Now, getting our hips turned over. Rock to the ceiling. Switch. So in between, rock your hips back. Turn your hip over. So we're well familiar with this at this stage, unfortunately. Come back to your hands. Just take them leg to the side. So try make a straight line. Shin across, just rocking a small bit. And now let your foot turn as well. So we're talking the last couple of weeks with the roundhouse kick about the standing leg pivoting. So it's rotating outwards. Switch legs. Push that foot out. Just rock a small bit. And then just let your hips sink back, turning that foot. Now, just come to a seated position for a moment. Bring your feet to the side, hands up. What I'm going to do is just switch your feet to the opposite side. So try to keep your body tall. Bring your feet across. So one shin across the front, one foot has gone to the back. Swing your feet across. Now the same. Just go a little bit slower. And slower again. Try to keep it up as tall as possible. Good. Okay, so guys, we're going to go to our standing fighting stance. We're going to look at an attacking drill, a defensive drill, and we're going to mix them around. So the first drill we're doing, I need to maybe take my up a small bit. The first drill we're going to look at is what we've done the last 2 weeks. So we're taking a roundhouse kick from our rear leg. We're kicking to the front. We're kicking. You're pulling back, and we're going to go front hook, backhand, and then that switch kick off the front leg. So make sure you're not stepping that foot. The driver is that kick from the back leg. Think of kicking with your knee, and then you can extend. You can kick with the knee, you can kick with the shin, the instep, the ball, the foot, toes, with the shoes on. You push off the back leg, kick, and recoil. Let's start with that. Make sure our foot is pivoting. Now, after you recoil your kick, add the hook in. So one side, then the other. Kick, hook. Now add that straight off the backhand. Now let's get that switch kick coming in. So what we're not doing is just lifting and kicking from the front leg. We talked about this a few weeks ago. It's faster, just the lift and kick. We're not getting the same amount of power. So there's times we will want to be faster, other times we want more power. Now we're going for power. So you're keeping your upper body where it is. Little switch, boom, and then kicking that front leg. So you're getting your hips behind the kick. Here. So ready, back leg, hook, backhand. Keep the same stance as the front leg kicks. Switching kick. Ready? going. Okay, I'll give a few technical points. You guys keep working the same. After you've kicked and your body's rotating back, think of that taking you into the hook. So the recoil of the kick is the start of the hook. You punch as you recoil this punch. That's the start of your switch kick. Make sure you keep your hands high all the time. Good, and relax for a moment. So, what we're going to look at, guys, is defending front kicks, and we're going to look at a few different ways of doing that. So, we talked earlier about your state of readiness. So, if you're already sort of in a fight, or a situation is about to start, and you've got your hands up, the adrenaline is flowing, you're expecting the attack to come, you see an attack coming as a kick, we can almost attack straight away. It's not a defensive movement, it's an attacking movement. So that's what we're going to go first with stopping kicks. So it's not just the physical part I want to work on now, it's the mental part as well. So get into fighting stance, be aggressive. The attack now is when you give me a front kick, maybe to the groin, okay, maybe higher. You see the kick coming, maybe there's a step and a kick, and from your fighting stance, take your front leg, and where you're kicking to is just below the knee. Make sure your foot is solid as like a side kick so it doesn't slide off. And you're going to kick, and you're going to land, and you're going to attack. So whatever attacks you want, okay? Whatever makes sense. You're going to kick, land straight away into attacks, look to get off the line. Ready? In your own time. One more. Good. So that's our stopping kick from our front leg. It's coming from a position that you're in a fighting mode, you're probably in a fighting stance. You see a kick coming, you see some sort of preemptive move, and you're attacking immediately. You're defending by attacking. As the kick is coming in, you're attacking towards the leg, and you're following with your hands. Same idea. Now we're going off our back leg. So if you lift your back leg and you turn your toes into a side kick, it doesn't feel comfortable for most people from their hip. Kicking outwards here makes more sense. So as the kick is coming up, boom, you're kicking here. You're kicking the opposite direction. So side kick is here. If you want to think of like an upside down side kick, okay? So as the kick comes in, you're immediately attacking and you're not stopping, you're following it. Ready, hands up, back leg, let's go. Finish your scanning, now moving, and we're back in. More. Good. Okay, going back to our attacking. Okay, so we're going to reverse the drill that we done earlier. So the drill we had earlier, kick from the back leg, front hook, back hand, switch from the front. It's pretty much the exact opposite. So starting with the switch kick, boom, back hand, front hook, and finishing off the back leg. Let's go. Switch and kick, backhand, front hook, boom. Thank you. Let's go. Keep our hands high. Keep going, guys. Okay, so that switch kick, as your foot is landing, the backhand's already on the way. You'll keep, don't stop. And make sure this last kick, you're not stepping, you're driving from that leg, boom, and then that foot is turning. So 1 or 2 more times, let's keep going. Good. Now, going back to our defensive kicks. So, think of stopping kicks as maybe the most aggressive option, the most preemptive option. Kick is coming, boom, you're immediately dealing with it. We're still in an aggressive fighting mode. Maybe it's not quite as ready. So now it's a little bit more defensive. As the kick is coming to your groin, you're making sort of a shin kick. You're making a defense with your shin, okay? So earlier on we were talking about the roundhouse kick. We said you could do the switch kick. This was getting your back leg under your center of gravity and allowing you to really open up the hips, create power. It's easier to see coming, and it's a bit slower, but it does create a lot of power. If I make my fighting stance, boom, and I just lift and kick, it's a lot faster, it doesn't telegraph as much, but there's not as much power. And again, it'll be different times to use these kicks. That version, the quick one, is pretty much what we're doing now. So if you wanted to make a shin defense, you step first, then you defend, you've already been hitting the groin. So as soon as you see that kick coming, boom, you're lifting. So the same way you lift and kick, focus on your knee, bring the shin across. And this isn't a defense you can stop. So if you're able to stand here, you've shifted your weight back too much. So we don't want all our weight shifting to our back leg, keeping the weight on the front leg, make your defense. Gravity is going to take the leg back down. So make sure you're not just falling, you're kicking, and you're pulling the foot back to the ground. So my center line is here, the kick is going to be straight in, maybe to the stomach, maybe to the groin. I'm bringing my knee across the center line to make sure you're not kicking with your foot, focus on using your knee. So, just from here. Make sure our hands aren't dropping. Sometimes just let the weight shift too far back onto the back leg, so you feel what you shouldn't be doing. What we're going to do is keep that weight on the front leg, even as we're defending. Now, adding the finishing mode. So the kick is coming to your groin, you're defending it. The attacker is kicking, maybe they're looking to land my hands, they're looking to get control of you. You've defended the kick. If you stay in the line, the target is there for them. If you don't attack, they're going to attack you. So what you're doing is you're deflecting the kick and immediately launching to attack. Okay? So you're not looking to defend or follow attacks unless you're too slow. What you're looking to do is defend and immediately get into fighting. So as this leg is dropping, you're already attacking. So defend, land, put more attacks in. You can see we're circling off, getting off the line, and look at moving and scanning at the end. Good. All right. So that's two of our ways of defending kicks, two leg defenses. Very quickly, what we'll look at is the concept of hand defenses. So in Krav Maga, we have a lot of methods of doing the same thing essentially. So for people who train in our club, you'll know in the grading syllabus, we have P levels, and you'll see in P level maybe 14, 15 different ways to defend a punch. And what they are is little variations, and it depends your position. Are your hands down or your hands up? How prepared are you? If you're already in a fight, maybe it's a case of avoiding the punch and moving back. If you're not ready at all, it's more of a flinch. Okay? Leg defenses are the same. So what we've talked about already, you're in a fighting stance, you see the kick coming, you're dealing with it. Okay, or you're dealing with it. Now we're going to look at a case where we're not ready. So you're standing, your hands are down, you're in a passive stance, so physically you're in a different position, but mentally you're in a different position as well. So if you're in a fighting stance, sparring the club, you know how the adrenaline is flowing? It's going to be 10 times worse when you're outside in reality because you're not expecting to be there. The consequences can be worse. So you're here, now you're relaxed, now you're passive. It's going to be a different reflex, different reaction. So a kick is coming towards your groin and you're going to flinch. And how are you going to flinch? You're going to pull the hands forward, you're going to shift your hips back. So you're going to look to put something in between your groin or your stomach and the attacking toe, which is the foot, and you're going to look to move your stomach back. So hand defense goes one way, body defense goes the other way. This is the way you flinch. In Krav Maga, we call our natural reaction. It's a flinch. Okay, you don't have much control over that. Okay, this is the way you move, but it's the start of our defensive technique. Now, the problem with this flinch, my hips shift back, but look, my head has come forward, my body weight is coming forwards now, and my body weight is now on the ball of my foot. So there's no way from here I can lift that leg and make a leg defense or make a stopping kick. It's just not going to work. So that's why we've hand defenses. Okay? If you could be completely cool and completely relaxed, you can defend every kick to the groin like this. But because when you're not expecting it and you flinch, you go here, now the legs are out of the game. You have to use your hands. Okay? So very quickly we're going to look at this. We'll look at it in a different session. I just wanted to put that point in about the difference between hand defense and leg defense. So the kick has come towards your ground line. What I want you to do first is flinch. So we'll start with our hands crossed here, hands up. Okay? And just send our hands down. Like this. Here. So just from the side, I'm not just pushing my hips back, leaning my body forwards. Think of catching the foot as early as possible. Right here. Okay, now from there, one. And you're going to take one wrist, you're going to scoop to the side. And scoop. So forwards and then scoop. Forwards, then scoop. Forwards, then scoop. I know it's hard when you don't have an attacker here, but try to visualize the kick is coming towards the groin and try to react somewhat realistically. So don't just put your hands here, you're going to get a kick in the groin. There's some urgency about it. Shift your hips back, get your hands forwards, and then scoop. Now, as you scoop, you're probably doing it already, but as you scoop and you push the kick one way, there's a pivot on the ball of the foot the other way. So this is the advantage. Over your hips going forward, the weight goes onto the ball, the feet comes off the heels, so you can pivot your feet. If your weight is still on your heels, you can't pivot. So you're one, hands up. So one, scoop, and you kind of fall forward. Now, as you make that fall forwards, let's start adding some attacks in. We scoop, we fall, and we follow with some attacks. Hands across, we shift our way forwards, we scoop and turn, and we're immediately into attacking. And again. So, guys, our idea that we had there is defending leg defenses when you're more prepared, hand defense when you're less prepared, turning the defense into attack as quickly as possible. So when you made a stopping kick, that was an attack. You were defending with an attack. When you made the shin inside defense, straight away you were into attacking. And here, even though it's a defensive move, as soon as you're clear of the attack, you're straight away attacking. What we're going to do now before water break is look at the skipping roundhouse we done last week. Okay, we were saying last time that we need basic kicking techniques. And when we do Krav Maga, we don't need to be masters of kicking. Okay, we need to be a good level across a wide range of skills, including kicking. Okay, but we need to go a little bit beyond the minimum. So the minimum is just being able to lift and kick. We want to be able to skip, we want to be able to move a small bit, so that if something unexpected happens, we can keep our balance. So skipping we talked about last week, my front foot is on this line, my back foot is going to replace my front foot, I'm going to kick. Okay, does not stand, then kick. As soon as your back foot moves, you have only one foot on the ground. So one foot on the ground, one foot on the ground, and kick. Last week we worked on the advancing part, skip and kick. This week we're going to work a little bit of agility. You're going to kick up and you're going to skip back. You're going to have 1 foot on the ground. You're going to kick, I have 1 foot on the ground, and I'm going to go back the same way. So my front foot is here, I'm going to kick and come back. Kick and come back. So don't lean forward and then traveling. Think of it like a pendulum. Your body's going to swing forwards and back. Forwards and back. So it's a little bit of agility work. Speed is important, agility is probably more important. Think of football. Fast player is good, but a player can go fast and change directions probably Much better asset to have. So hands high, kick, and come back. Let's go. So be light on your feet. Go switch feet, and let's go. Switch again. Let's go. And one more switch. So back foot replaces the front foot replaces the back foot. Good. Okay. So that's going to come back. Not today, but a different time we're going to see that again. Guys, we'll take a quick water break and we'll come back in for strength and for a round. Okay. Okay, so we're back. Pretty much the same strength as last week. Press ups, squats by 1.5, burpees, and our marching. So 6 burpees, 2 or 4, 6, 8, 10, 10, 8, 6, 4 with our press ups and our squats. So let's get to it. So we're starting off 10 press ups. Okay, if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, look at narrowing your hands, look at going down a decline. If you struggle with it a little bit, go half press up or go on an incline. Let's go. So 10. And we're up for 4 1.5 squats. Squat to the bottom, come up halfway, back down, and up. Let's go. And our burpees. 6. And our 10 marches. Good. 8 press ups. And we're up, and we are into 6 1.5 squats. Let's go. Six. And 6 is a good number for burpees. Let's go. Six burpees and 10 marches. Good. We're back in for 6 press-ups. And we're up for 8 squats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6 burpees. And our 10 marches. Good. What's next? 4 press-ups. It's 10 by 1.5 squats. 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, they're tough. Okay, 6 burpees. And our 10 marches. Good. Okay. There's a comment here from Paul. What does he say? What time are we having the points and the couches? Well, traditionally, Paul, there's a part of the session that I forget every week or I run over time with, so it might be the points and the couches, but we'll get them in at the Christmas part if we don't get them in tonight, okay? We'll go for our planks. So, as we got the side planks, a straight line from your shoulder to your ankle, lift your hips up. Think of the moment of having a line that's running through your body, goes to your hips. With your hips on the floor, that line bends. You want a straight line the whole way up your body. So our fist up, ready, let's go. Keep your hips nice and high. Try to keep your mouth closed, breathe through your nose. Keep those hips high, keep your head high as well. 10 seconds. And relax. Switch your legs to the opposite side. Okay. So, straight line from shoulder to ankle and lift those hips. Yeah, I bet you've missed those days when the Wi-Fi used to freeze and you get a rest. Keep your hips up. 30 seconds. Ten seconds. And relax. Good. So guys, it's our favorite part of the class. It's our rounds. Today we're going for 8 rounds. 40 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Hand techniques and kicking techniques, mix in the drills we had earlier. Mix some of the skipping roundhouses in. Grab a quick sip of water. Grab your gloves if you want them. And we'll be back in a second. So I'm just going to set the timer up. If I can remember the name of the timer. That would have been so bad if I couldn't remember the name of this timer. We weren't able to do the session. So 40 seconds on, 30 seconds off. So guys, the thing we're looking for is good footwork all the time and keeping a stance. And like we said last week, what they say to boxers before they go into the ring, protect yourself at all times. So keep your hands up, have some strikes available. Don't think of just surviving. So make it kind of an 8 out of 10 effort. So your fitness is improving, you're able for more than you were 9 weeks ago when it comes to these kind of rounds, you're getting more efficient, and efficiency is the enemy of getting fitter when it comes to aerobic fitness. So make it tougher, a little bit stronger with your strikes, more recoiling, put more combos in, and more frequency with your attacks. Okay, so we're starting in 5 seconds. We'll get a little one. Go. Have 30 seconds left. 5 seconds. Good, 2 rounds down. Only 6 to go. 5 seconds. Seconds. Rest. And that is 3 rounds now, I think. Good. 5 seconds. We've done this round, you're halfway there after this round. Good, halfway there. Rest. Leave them on the floor. 15 seconds. So throwing the combos that we had earlier, the kicking and the following up, the hands getting off the line from previous sessions. 5 seconds. Hands up. Good. 5 done. Now we're over the heel. Go ahead and do the other side. 3 rounds to go. Again, guys, don't let the intensity drop down. Keep the foot in the pedal. 5 seconds. Hands up. Keep your stance. Protect yourself. Oh, 2 rounds to go. Rest. 80 seconds of work. And just think of the couch stretch to look forward to after this. So it's all good. Five seconds. Goes up. Let's go. Go at it. 30 seconds. Now last round. Let's start with some Rocky team again. Ten seconds. You were done this time last week. We'll push a little bit more now. 5, 4, 3. Seconds. Five. Good. Stay tall. Breathe. Don't hold over. Breathe through your nose. Okay, guys, quick sip of water. We'll come back in. If you need to bring something under your knee for your couch stretch, do that, okay? Okay, so guys, we'll come back in for our couch stretch. So for the people who have joined us in the last couple of weeks, who might not be as familiar with what we do as our regular students, if you want to look at the last 5 minutes of some of the previous sessions, they're all up there. You'll see some different mobility exercises. So the frog, which we done earlier, you'll see a more detailed version. Our windmill stick exercise, our bretzel. These are just some good daily mobility exercise to practice. So you can do the full session, or if you just want to watch the last 5 minutes, because we're all moving a little less than normal now with the current restrictions. They're just good things to keep you in good shape. So we're going to do probably the most sore version today, which is the couch stretch. And we're going to go to the wall. If you don't put something underneath, you can. Start with your heels against the wall and be in the crawl position from earlier. And what you're going to do is step your knee in and put your knee right into the skirting board. So if you want to put something under your knee, you do there. Your instep on the wall. Take your hand down and then take this foot up. And the idea is to get the knee on that's at the wall, get that hip as far away from your foot as possible, get your hip as close to the ground as possible. So just push that hip out. You'll feel a stretch, just hold it. Try to keep regular breathing, so don't hold your breath. And people who are more advanced, you can pulse slightly here. A really good way to get better stretch is to squeeze your glute, the same side. So squeeze that glute, because when one side contracts, the other side relaxes and allows you to push into a little bit more of a stretch. So the hip here is keeping some tension. When you squeeze the glute on the opposite side, it takes away some of that tension, allows you to push the hip up a little bit more. Just going to pulse the hip forwards a little bit. And again, I know people are probably sick of me saying this, but pain is an issue. If you have pain when you're training, it's something you need to get looked at. And like maybe it's a bit of a pull on a hamstring or a pull on a hip flexor. We always say go to a physio, go to the doctor, get it checked out. There can be other things as well. Soreness is a different thing. Discomfort is a different thing to pain. So this is very discomfortable at the moment, but once it's not painful, it'll probably be okay. So push the hip out, and you want to keep that discomfort level quite high. So if it starts to get more relaxed, feels easier, push the hip out a little bit more, find that discomfort level and hold it there. Again, keep breathing, don't hold your breath. You can stay in this position maybe 2 minutes, and then we'll come to the higher position if possible, and maybe we'll stay there for another 2 minutes and work the same on both sides. So if you can, and only if you can, come up to a taller position. Here, if you want to stay, your hand on the floor, 2 hands on the floor, that's fine. become taller. But it's not just about the achievement of getting your hands off the floor. Still push this hip out. Look at making this side of your body as tall as possible. So you want to make from this shoulder to that knee as long as possible. Keep that position. So we're all sitting, again, like we said, more than normal. Your hip flexor is in a constant shortened position, and your glute is in a constant lengthened position where it's not really tensing, it's not firing. So a lot of time people end up with maybe hip problems, lower back problems, maybe their hips are a little bit stiff. Yeah, squeeze that glute, push the hip out, maybe as tall as possible. And then gently, hands to the floor, and turn. The mark that doesn't notice that mark on the wall. Good. So the 6-point position, our crawl, opposite leg, step our knee in, knee on the skirting board, instep on the wall, take your foot up, and again, work on pushing that hip out. So don't think of it that you just sit here for a while and then you go to tall position. If the tall position is comfortable for you and you can go there, here, really focus on pushing that hip out. So squeeze the glute, push the hip out. Make an arc from this shoulder. So don't you make a straight line from your shoulder to your knee. You have to push the hip and make it an arc. And squeeze the glute, push the hip out. The Wi-Fi isn't frozen, I'm still here. So push it and squeeze the glute. And now, if possible, come to that tall position. Someday you'll thank me for this, but that won't be today. Squeeze the glute, get that hip forward, nice and tall. Keep your regular breathing. This is a good one to work at home, a couple of times a week. Plus some of our pelvic tilts. We didn't do them the last couple of sessions, but we lie on the ground, we lift our hips, we squeeze our glutes. The frog, then we get your hips turning over. Your bretzel and your mobility stick or your windmill stick will get the thoracic spine moving. So the parts that you want to move, your shoulders, your thoracic spine, your hips, you want to keep the movement there. You want to be able to maintain a neutral spine. That's where we've got our planks in there. And all that supports our training. Good. Gently walk around that position. And just come up tall. Maybe you feel a little more release in your hips now. Squeeze your glutes. Okay. Just come up tall and just start to kick. Start to move a slight bit. Try a couple of higher roundhouse kicks. So, guys, well done. Great session. Good number there today. 25 to 30 people watching. So, and training as well, I hope. Guys, thanks very much. The next couple of sessions we're going to look at including more defensive techniques. So, we can't obviously defend an actual attack. We can't get the full effect of Krav training. But I think what we can work on is visualization a small bit. So, when you're training in a club, we always try to make it as realistic as possible. You have to visualize an attacker attacking you. You have to work even harder for that now. Okay, so when you're doing a leg defense, when you're doing a hand defense, when you're doing a knife defense, you have to visualize that knife that's coming at you, how you'll feel, and what way you need to react with your body. Okay, and like we said last week, there's a lot of stuff we can't do at the moment, but let's focus on what we can do. Everybody's striking level, I think, has gone up a good bit. Your shadow boxing level has gone up. And we don't usually get that much mobility training done in a regular session, except the strength class. So there's a lot of positives we're getting in there at the moment. Okay. So guys, that's it for today. Thanks for everybody who put the review up. Okay, appreciate that. It's on the Facebook page there. So guys, we'll see you next week. If you have any requests, next week's gonna be a nice session. Next week, I'll build you up for it now. We're going to go 10 rounds of shadow fighting, and we're going to go with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 on the strength. Okay, so let's start building up from this week. Okay, so make sure you don't start making excuses to get out of the session. We'll see you next week, guys, for a big one. Okay, good.